All right, ready to go. Excited to be here. Hello, my name is Jared, and this is Does This Work, a comedy podcast. And today I'm joined by one of the legends in the industry, UK born, who's now a Perth resident, who's performed sold-out shows all over the country. State finalist for Raw.
Yeah, 1 year. I
One
forget
year,
which one.
yeah.
I think I did it my first or second year. I think I did it
cool.
my second year.
And has also gone on to write for shows such as Taskmaster, Mock the Week, The Project.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. It's all correct. Good. As you can also see him at selling out pro shows as well as going to open mics. He's all over the scene. He's a legend in the industry. David Hughes.
Well, a lovely intro. I don't know if I agree with half of it, but at least it's factually correct. Yeah, well, that's I appreciate it. Thank you.
More than some of my other guests. I was using ChatGPT for, and I had like almost every guest is like, just quickly, that's wrong. Even like Sean Conway had his like he opened for Jim Jeffries. He's like, I didn't open.
Yeah.
And then Bruno like earlier this week, I was like, I've got Brazilian-born Bruno Oliveira.
Like,
and he's like,
nah, I'm Portuguese.
yeah. I was like, damn it.
But they speak Portuguese in Brazil. So,
there you go. So it's all the same. Browns are Browns. Well, yeah, thanks again for being here.
Thanks
David
for having
Hughes.
me. Thanks for having me.
Very excited that you're here, man. It's good. So I have one question off the bat that I ask everyone. Why comedy?
Why comedy? I always, like anyone, I've always enjoyed comedy. Like I've watched stand up from like an early age, like people like Billy Connolly and stuff like that. Yeah. Like I think that was probably my Billy Connolly and Jasper Carrot were the two that I watched the very first. But it was more of like, oh, these people swear and everyone laughs, like, you know, because I was young. But I never thought about comedy until I think much later. I started traveling and I was writing while I was traveling. Like I was documenting it basically, and then I wrote
journaling.
Yeah, but then I wrote a book because it was online, and then a publisher said, well, if you take it offline, put it into a proper format, like we'll publish it. So I did that, and then from there I started to read more of like do you know Bill Bryson and people like that? Like
no.
Bill Bryson's like he's a travel writer, cool. But he's very funny, and I think I picked it from there, and I was like, I just wanted to condense it more and more and start writing jokes. Yeah. Then I found Twitter, and I was like, oh, you get 140 characters to tell a story, and I fell in love with that.
And you found a following in there, like 100 and something thousand.
Yeah, something like 100.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is actually. I don't really check it much since it's died, but I mainly use Instagram now. But I think that's where comedy started for me, because people saw what I was doing on there, and then I started getting jobs writing for other comics and stuff. Because it was like a CV basically. I think people were like, if you can do this every day with original jokes, then I reckon you can probably do this for us. So
then how did you find that you on Twitter, when did it start to tip where people were starting to retweet and follow? And
it was... it happened over a period of about like 2 or 3 years. Like I was tweeting into the void, I think. Yeah. Having about 500 followers for a long time. And then people like Seth MacFarlane or someone, for example, would just like retweet a bunch of them. Yeah. And then he was notorious for he would retweet like 3 of my jokes and then just leave them at the top of his timeline and then not use Twitter for about a week. So anyone who checked,
that's great.
Yeah, anyone who checked his thing would just see my jokes, and I would gain like... At the time, it was easier to gain followers. I would gain thousands from stuff like that. And then him and a bunch of other people like that would do it. So I got a huge helping hand from those types of guys. And then from there, I was just like... I think it was when I started writing on shows like Mock the Week. Yeah. And writing stuff for actual comedians. And then watching them do it. And I was like, I reckon I could do this.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question.
They're my jokes. I reckon I could say them. So,
that was going to be my next question, was which came first? Was the TV show writing or the stand-up? So,
no, TV writing. Yeah. Stand-up, I did, coming up on my 5th year now. So stand-up I'm very, very late to. Yeah. But yeah, I've been writing now for about, as my job for about 10 or 11 years.
That's great.
So yeah,
that's cool. I have like 1,000 questions about TV writing because I find it fascinating.
Yeah.
But when you're writing for people like on Mock the Week, do you have to write with their voice in mind?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Do you deep dive and look at their kind of cadence and the
way
they...
I got really lucky with a few of them because I was already, because I grew up watching Mock the Week. Yeah. So I've been, I say grew up, I was in my like 20s, but I used to watch it all the time when I was back in the UK and genuinely loved the show. So when I got on, it was a big thing. And then when because the show got cancelled, and I'd been writing on it for about 4 seasons or 5 seasons at that point. So it was heartbreaking for a lot of different reasons. But I was so used to the show's format. But then on top of that, a lot of the comics that were on there, I was just big fans of anyway. Yeah. So if you think about like who you maybe like your top 2 or 3 kind of favorites are, you could easily write jokes in their voice because you've heard so much of it. And as you said, like, you know, their cadence, their timing, you know, some things would be really incongruent for certain people to talk about. So you just avoid that. And
that's great. And then, so are you still doing the TV writing now?
Yeah, right now I'm writing on a show called 7 Days, which is a New Zealand show. It's actually, it's just like Mock the Week.
Yeah.
It's so similar. And I was like, oh, this must be the same, like, producers.
It's just derived from
but it's long running too. I think it sort of started around the same time, so I don't know which came first. I don't care. But when I first saw it, I saw that you know, Ray O'Leary.
Yes.
Yeah, so I saw he was on it, and I asked him about it, and he goes, "Oh yeah, it's basically our Mock the Week."
Yeah. Okay.
And he didn't know that I'd written on that show at that point, and I was like, I used to write on the English one, and he was like, you should probably get in touch with the team and just see it. And I was like, all right. So I did, and been writing on that for the last just this last season. They just finished up production now.
Is that all remote, or do you have to go?
Yeah, all remote. I'm not going anywhere. I love it here.
That's great. And when did you move over here from the UK?
I mean, I left the UK when I was 26, but I just travelled around like a hobo for about 5 years, and then finally found Australia because I'd run out of money.
And is there any like Australian things that you still haven't quite grasped in terms of like stereotypes that you like?
I mean, racism, you do that really well here. It's crazy. No, man, this is home now. So like for the first time, or not recently, but I came back from, I think I went to the UK, and then I got back here, and this was when I went like, oh, I'm home. And I hadn't had that. Cool. I never even had that in England, because I was born in Ireland and grew up in England, and never, you know, I wouldn't say I didn't feel like I belonged or anything, but like you do have a weird identity thing going on, because I sound like this. I sound English, but I have an Irish passport, and it's very strange.
And you're like Australian.
Yeah. And my son is Australian, and my wife is Australian, so there's this weird thing now. But Australia, I'm so used to. I'm even used to this fucking weather now. Yeah. Like it gets slightly cold. I'm like, what is this shit? And everyone has to remind me that
people freak out.
This is a tropical English summer. What are you talking about?
Yeah. People freak out when it comes, like, as if winter never comes here. Every year it's the same. Like, it drops down to a few degrees, and people are like, bloody cold, isn't it?
I'm the same. I'm like, what? I got to put a jumper on now? Are you fucking kidding me?
I love it. I grew up here. My parents are from Sri Lanka, so you'd think that I like the heat, or I'd be used to it. But this feels disgusting when it's hot. I just feel like I can never get comfortable. So I'm much more into like multiple layers. Yeah. Plus I put on some kilos, so I'm like the extra layers.
Brother, I feel you.
It's over 40 and married with kids. That's what happens. Yeah. So who are the local comics that you sort of noticed when you moved over? Or not really when you moved over here, but when you were coming up in the industry, who were the local comics that you were sort of alongside?
John Pinder and Andrew Wolfe, and they were the two that got me to open for them. That my very first show was opening for John Pinder at the Comedy Lounge for his solo show, and then my second one was an hour and a half later opening for Andrew Wolfe for his solo show at the Lounge.
And they had seen you already?
They were aware. It was my first gig. Yeah. Like, I'd never done comedy before, but they were aware of me as a writer, and thought that I think they were both pretty confident that I'd be all right at it, at least. So
I guess it's like writing and stand-up comedy, it kind of feeds each other, do you find? Like, you're able to use one to promote the other?
Definitely, yeah. And I think that it might be even a bit easier if, or for someone like me, maybe, because, you know, I always view writing's my job, and I feel like stand-up's an extension of it. Yeah. So, you know, like, even when I'm doing stuff that is for something else, you know, like, I'm not doing it for me for stage or anything, but it's still like, it's like constantly exercising that muscle. That's cool. So I feel like if I was doing a job where I didn't get to be creative, maybe stand up would suffer a little bit. Yeah. Whether that's like motivation or just inspiration, I'm not sure. Yeah. Well, because me, like, I've sort of my hands in a few different pies, for lack of a better analogy. Because you're an actor, aren't you? I'd act, but like the music that I do on is my main job. Like, I'll do 2 or 3 gigs a week sometimes, and like an acoustic loop pedal thing, very one-man band, Ed Sheeran type thing, but like all covers. You need me, man. I don't need you. All that stuff. Do you play the guitar? I've got one here in case anyone. I am the least musical person in the world, but I absolutely love music. Yeah. But like I find like because it's all in a creative industry, so it's music, and then I do acting, and then I do comedy.
I'm not focusing on one over the other a lot of the time. It's just like I'm redirecting focus a lot. So
Do you think that's a good thing or a
I
bad thing?
don't know. Like
Yeah.
it's a different. Like I used to get a different enjoyment out of music. Music was like I felt like I was living the dream. But now music has become much more of a personal therapeutic thing for me. It's like I can go to a pub in front of 180 people and play Ed Sheeran and or whatever, and have my eyes are closed and I'm looping and I'm drumming on the guitar and it's all sounding great, but it's like it's not for the crowd. It's just like I really
Just for
enjoy
you,
it.
yeah.
And
I
then,
need to. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I need to ask. Do you like Jose Gonzalez?
I love Jose Gonzalez. Yeah,
Cycling Trivialities is the best song that has ever been made, and
Yeah.
nothing will ever beat it. It's the most
Yeah.
beautiful piece of music in the world. And as soon as you said like closing your eyes, it reminds me of the string theory orchestra that he does it with, which is just amazing.
I remember Heartbeats. His song Heartbeats.
Heartbeats is. I mean, honestly, everything he's ever done
Yeah.
is incredible.
Yeah.
But all the stuff with Junip, which is basically just him as the front man anyway.
Yeah.
And it sounds like unless you know that it's Junip, you go
Yeah.
like, oh, this is Jose's song. I love everything that man has ever done,
cool.
but Cycling Trivialities is like I listen to that every day.
Wow.
There's not many things I listen to every day.
So your Spotify Wrapped thing at the end of the year is like
I don't-
once again.
I don't use Spotify, but like I'm an Apple dickhead.
yeah, cool.
But I think they do the Wrapped as well now
They-
to
they
try and
must.
keep up.
Yeah, try and get you looking back at what you've listened to over the year.
Mine would probably just be like, you listen to Cycling Trivialities too many times, and then here's about 4 other songs that you thought were good.
Mine's the same, except mine it's like you've listened to like early 2000s like punk and 90s R&B pretty much like on loop, and then we've got rain sounds to fall asleep to.
Mine is actually because it's like it's stuff like Jose Gonzalez, Joshua Radin, that sort
Yeah.
of stuff, because I do love that kind of music. It's grime,
Yeah.
and then it's like classical music, like the Bach
Yeah.
cello suites or
Oh,
like
cool.
Penguin Cafe Orchestra
Yeah.
stuff. My taste is all over the
Well,
fucking
yeah,
place.
so my wife is like shares my Spotify account, so it's very mixed, and she doesn't know like artists. So
Yeah.
she'll ask, like we have like the Google smart home thing, and she'll be like, Google, play something chill, play
Yeah.
some fun kitchen vibes, and then it just starts playing random, and then even if it sounds good, she has no idea who it is.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like,
I'm
play
so-
Dashboard Confessional. do you remember Dashboard?
I remember Dashboard. We all had that emo stage. I'm very, very particular. I'm very particular with music. I listen to it a lot, but when I'm writing especially, it has to be classical because words will distract me.
Yeah, there's a scientific thing about that. I think when I was in school,
I just thought I was fucking stupid.
nah, when I was in school, we had I think a language Indonesian teacher who would put on classical music, and he told us is because when you're listening to a song that has words, you're singing along to it in your head, and with classical music, it's just the music, and it's less intrusive. Like it's just a relaxing thing. So but yeah, there is something to it. My wife will listen to, again, it's like a playlist that she'll find. It's like New York jazz, and it's just like
I've
just a
started
jazz
listening to
playlist.
jazz lately. I've started because I was watching Homeland.
Oh yeah.
And Carrie Matheson's character listens to a lot of jazz music, and I
Yeah.
started listening to it. I don't know why. I mean, obviously it was inspired by the show, but there's something. Have you seen Homeland?
Only the first few seasons. First couple seasons.
There's something really amazing about how they use jazz to sort of
Yeah. It's
like-
Claire Danes, right?
yeah, and they use the jazz music to kind of perfectly encapsulate the type of person that she
Yeah.
is, because she's chaos, but it's
Yeah.
organized, and it's like jazz. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. But I started falling in love with the music, and then I was in Sydney recently, and everywhere that I went, I just listened to jazz music, because now music just makes me think of Sydney.
Yeah. It's cool. And I think I'm the same way with music when it comes to, I like to be reminded of a certain time or place or period.
That's why I did it on
Yeah.
purpose, because I was doing the store for the very first time. I was so excited about it, and I wanted another thing to like anchor to.
Yeah.
So I just listened to jazz music.
I couldn't tell you anyone now is at all. Like, people talk about like Chapel Roan and stuff. I'm like, never heard a song. There was like someone named Gracie something who was here who's like popular with like girls. Never heard a song. I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I mean, I think we do get to a point, and we're roughly
Yeah.
the same age. You get to that point where the stuff that you like is the stuff that you like.
That's it, yeah.
Like before we started recording, we were talking about TV shows.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like you. I rewatched so much stuff.
Yeah, I'm going through The Office again.
The Office is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah.
And-
UK or American?
the American.
Yeah.
They're different shows altogether.
Different. That's what I say,
The UK show is great,
Yeah.
but the American show is incredible. The way that, like, I can't remember what season. I think it's like around season 5. It just hits a lull, but like we're all so invested in those characters, it doesn't matter.
No, you're right. That's what I say to people as well. Like, do you like the UK one or the US one? As if it's some challenge, like personality challenge. I'm like,
you might as well be asking me, do I like Star Trek or Lost?
Yeah.
Like, they're very different shows.
Yeah, Lost.
Yeah. The greatest show ever made, by the way.
But because and I'll say the same thing you said. I'm like, it's two different shows. Like, they obviously the first season it starts very word for word, the same script, the same dialogue. But like as it goes on, it becomes its own thing.
Yeah.
Michael becomes way less of a creepy sort of character, and he's more an endearing sort of guy to watch.
There's that turning point as well when we see when he's at the duplex with the little TV, and you almost feel like he's this domestic abuse victim.
Yeah, he's sleeping in that little bed.
And you're like, oh fuck, this is like I mean, I'm not going to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but fuck, it's been on for like 20 years. But it's I thought it was so fucking well made, man. And when people hold it up against the UK one, I'm like, what are you doing? That's not no. So
even Ricky Gervais, he got asked like, what do you think is better, the UK or the US office?
The US one, but no.
He goes, I think I would have said the UK one, but my like finance guy reckons it's the US one.
There was that brilliant. I think it was. I can't remember what it was for, but it was just like an interview or something where Ricky was berating Steve Carell for leaving, and like killing a cash cow and all this sort of stuff. So going, I wish him luck or whatever. But it was very facetious. It was very tongue in cheek, but it was so funny. It was so funny. Because
I read something or saw an interview where Steve Carell said like his contract had expired and there wasn't a conversation about coming back, so he kind of just left. And there was no conversation about renegotiating for another season.
But how amazing was it that he left, Ed Helms took the helm, and it still was amazing. It was still a great fucking show. Yeah,
which is hard to do when someone like Steve Carell leaves, because he was like the glue that holds it all together.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like I say it's kind of like, but I hadn't seen that much of a shift since there was a show called Misfits. Did you ever see that?
I loved Misfits.
Right, you know how they basically just recast?
Yeah, except for like one character.
Matt Stocko, a friend of mine. He's actually a mate of mine. But like he was like the handsome barman. He was the only one who stayed.
Yeah.
Everybody else, from memory, I haven't watched it in a very long time, but everybody else switched, and I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this because what's his name? Joseph Gilgan, I think his name is.
The one
Rudy. He was incredible. What a fucking character.
Yeah, he came in at one of the last.
Yeah, he was so good. He was great. Yeah. And then I was like, now he's gone, but for whatever reason, it still works, and it was still a great show.
He's still like there's a meme of him where he pulls like a face and he's like hiding behind a wall and he disappears. I'm gonna have to put it on the screen, but like it's still, I see it all the time. And then like the guy that plays Nathan.
He was great too. The Irish guy.
Irish guy who was in the one about the Umbrella Academy. He was in the Umbrella Academy. Have you seen that?
I started watching that, and that's one of those ones where like everyone's like, you got to watch it, and I'm like, no, I don't.
I'm the same. Yeah.
And I watched like an episode or two, and you know what? No reason for me not to continue because I liked what I saw.
Yeah, it was like even that's a show where the I need something to get me immediately.
Yeah.
In the first, like, that's why me and my wife really don't watch shows anymore, because I choose things that are like, it's engaging, it's gripping, it's awesome, and she chooses things with like, Rebel Wilson. Yeah.
It's like I watched. Now this is one suggestion that I did take on board, but I watched Severance.
Oh yeah, Severance is great. Adam Scott.
I thought it was incredible, and I was talking to my sister about it, and she was like, and my sister is the smartest human I've ever met. She goes, "Did you understand it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it's not really. And she went, "Oh." She went, "To be fair, maybe I think I'm on my phone a lot when I'm watching it." I'm like, "That's."
That pisses me off.
When I like watch the thing.
Yeah. Oh, passive aggressively.
Pause it and go.
Yeah, we can wait. It's fine. Yeah. What are you just scrolling? I see. Yeah, cool. TikTok. Right.
Just put it. Put it away. Like, it's such a confusing show. It isn't. Yeah. It's not confusing.
It's because you've lost 10 minutes of it. Yeah. And it's like a different character who's played by the same person.
Stop, man. That's a great show. That's a great show.
What annoys me though is shows like that where there's like 2.5 years between seasons.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say, like, I mean, Game of Thrones, I started watching it at season 5.
Yeah.
So all the hype was gone. Anything that had been mentioned didn't ruin it for me because it was years ago. And I had all of this to watch, and then I ended up waiting for like one season or whatever it was. That's kind of the way to do it. If you can hold out, that's the way to do it.
Well, there's shows that are great that you don't need to. Like there's shows like Supernatural that I used to watch.
Right.
That went for like 16 seasons or something.
That's
too
many seasons.
Too many seasons. But then maybe even more. But then Sunny. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
That's on its like 17th season now.
Yeah.
And that's like the most underrated comedy show. Do you watch it?
I've seen a lot of it. Yeah, it's great.
But like, so never like it doesn't win awards.
I dip in and out though.
Yeah, it's like, and if you go back, it's like President Bush was president when it started. They had like old school Nokias.
Yeah.
And then like you watch this progression of like the world around the show. As you if you binge watch it, it's just weird because it's only 10 episodes a season. You know,
it's kind of like The Simpsons. Remember The Simpsons started introducing like phones and iPods and stuff like that.
And they changed the TV to like a digital.
Yeah,
TV.
like a plasma. Like, don't do that.
Yeah, just make it.
Come on, man.
I'm working on a bit now. It's not really working. Going back to comedy writing, where I'm like trying to compare. I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, marriage, right, guys? You know what I mean? Complaining about my wife, but I got this bit about how I've been married for nearly 20 years, and marriage is a lot like The Simpsons. Like the early years were great, but as every year that it goes on, it just gets progressively worse and worse. But it's never. I haven't tried it yet because it just seems like one of those ones that'll be like, oh, yeah, I see what he did.
Yeah.
But on that, so you do the whole dad stuff. You and Tori, how did that come to be?
Well, Tori and I had 3 children together. I don't know. As in, like, how did the show come about?
Yeah, so I mean, how did you guys meet? What was the concept? Because I know there's there's the Bad Mums.
Bad Dads was a show that I got brought on to.
Yeah, cool.
Just like, you know, how people run a show. It was Mark Canny, and he was like, hey, do you want to spot on this show? Because I think it kind of suits your vibe. And then Tori came up with the Where's Mum thing. But before that, like, we just been gigging together. I think he started a little bit before me, but we started to get some of the pro spots around the same like sort of time. So we had like that kind of connection going, and he's great as well. Like he's great to work with, and like great to write with, great to just a fucking great dude. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I can do, you know, like someone's like, hey, do you want to do something together? You're like, definitely. Yeah. You know, same with Tate. Tate was like, you know, want to do a podcast, want to do this. And I was like, yeah, definitely want to do that. Whereas there's some people where they're great and they're funny and all the rest of it, but like, I don't know if I'll have the right amount of excitement and energy to put into this. And it's a me thing, not a them thing. I prefer doing stuff like by myself. But then there's some things where you just go like, nah, this will be good. Yeah, this will be, and it makes me. I hope it's made me a better comic too. We've done about 15 of those shows or whatever.
So the idea Tori came up with the idea about getting like a couple of dads together to talk about dad things.
Just me and him.
Just you and him.
Yeah, just me and him.
And then did it come off the back of the mums? Because there was a mums one as well.
No, so Bad Dads was first, and then Nikki and Jill started Where's Mum? They started the Bad Mums thing. Yeah. And I think there was another show, a motherhood thing that was going in the background. Yeah, like ages before Bad Dads and all of that stuff. But who really owns the market on parenting stuff? And I think everyone just sees what works. It's funny because like the mum stuff works way better because typically they're the ones buying tickets to stuff. So those Where's Mum show, Bad Mums shows and all that stuff, they do really, really well. And I think that was probably part of it. We sort of saw that there is a hook there that we can kind of like, you know, move into a little bit. So
and then because I do a lot of similar type of jokes about being a dad, my son being married.
It's hard not to because it's the big.
It's what you know. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to be relatable to other dads or other parents. But same. It's the feedback that I got immediately. They were like, "Oh, we like the stuff about you. Like your son. That's so funny. Like my son does the same thing." And then immediately, you know, as a comedian, you're like, "Cool, mental note. This is positive."
But then I did the same, and then had to branch away from it and start doing more just any other thing that wasn't me talking about my family. Yeah. Not for, I mean, probably for my sake, but I think just as much like when you, 5 minutes is fine on like one topic, but then when you start doing like 10 and 15 and 20, you're like, I can't talk about my son being a fucking idiot for like 20 minutes. I can make it as funny as possible, but they will get exhausted with me still on that same topic. And I saw it as well. I remember doing my first like couple of tens, and I was like, oh, I need other topics in here. I only had like one or two other things. So I was like, I need to find other stuff.
So then when you're writing jokes and you're writing your own punchlines and things, is it a similar way to when you're writing for TV in terms of like how does it look in your head when you're writing a joke? Is it like, I've got the punchline, I've got an idea for a funny premise, and I'm going to work backwards to get away from it?
I don't think I've heard lots of people talk about like reverse engineering a joke, because they have a punchline and people will tell me like, I've got this punchline, but I don't know where it fits. And I'm like, I can't even begin to understand how that process would even work. I get how you can have a line maybe and go like, where does that fit in somewhere else? Like I do get it, but like I don't think I could create anything that way. I have to have so like TV stuff, you get a brief, and I have to write a certain way, whether it's about a particular story or whatever. Like I just have to come up with as many ideas as possible. That's a completely different process. Like they're worlds apart, the way that you do it that way and then the way that you do it for yourself. Because for yourself, you're always just thinking about, you know, what you're going through, and I'm trying to observe it through this like comedic lens that you've over the years just hopefully is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you like, you know, like you just can't turn it off. You know, you just making notes constantly and go, oh, maybe that's a thing. I'll come back to that later on.
I'm still fairly new, but I'm trying to make sure that part of my brain is always on. And I find being a dad actually helps with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I always try and piss my son off by doing dad jokes. Like I'm there for every school drop off and pick up. It's just me and him in the car. And he pretends to be all like he's 12 now. He pretends to be all like annoyed, but I can see he likes it.
Yeah.
But what I'm doing is it's making me look around at the world and go, all right, how can I turn this into a shitty pun for my kid? Is
he funny?
He's funny. He wants to be a comedian. He's got a real natural. Yeah. He takes things. He's got a natural way of finding punchlines and things.
My son's the same. He's 9, and he got me with one the other day because there was a period where I was like, is he purposely funny, or is this like, I don't know what's going on here? And he got me with one the other day where he was in the shower and he asked me for to hand him his shampoo because it was his shower gel because it was in another shower, and I got it for him and he went, "Is this it?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he was reading it. He goes, "It says it's for dry skin." I was like, because he's got this like rash on the side of his face, and I was like, "Yeah, it's for your thing." And he goes, "My skin's wet," and I was like, "All right." Not bad. Not bad at all. And I keep seeing these little flashes like that. Yeah. But the thing is, in true fucking comedian style, when he delivers these things, he's not laughing. Yeah. Like he'll just do it, and then I'm like, that was pretty funny. Yeah. I like that a lot. So yeah, I'm interested to see, because it is like it has to rub off on them.
It must,
because I do it all the time with him, and like you do it all the time with your kid. Yeah. It's just a thing that you do. Also, as well, I think a lot of my comedy comes from the mundanity of things, and then I make it funnier in my head just to get through it. I always find like if I'm in a situation, like I have a joke about being in a playground and parents are on their phones, and the upper E cunt in me goes like, "Can pay attention, you know, like play with your kid and stuff." Yeah. But the joke then became like, you know, if I find myself doing it, I'm like, all right, put my phone down and concentrate on the road. Yeah. The misdirection being obviously that I'm in a car and I'm being a piece of shit. It's one of like my older ones, but like it came from being at like swimming pools and you know, I am watching, but I am bored. Like this is boring shit. Yeah. He's in a swimming pool, like, you know, trying not to die. Awesome. I've got to watch this for half an hour. I love being a dad. Like it is the best thing that I have ever done. I'm so proud. It's the best thing I've ever done with my life. But we can't ignore the fact that sometimes it is kind of boring and the shit that you just have to do. Yeah. Those are the moments that, like, for me, those are the things that in my head I just go, wouldn't it be funny if, you know?
And that's how you come up with, or that's
where a lot of it comes from, for sure.
Do you ever feel like you have to mine for material? Like you have to sit down and...
Only once the premise is there and I go like, all right, we have a bit and we have a few beats, but I need more. Yeah. Like this isn't funny enough, or like this is too long a setup. I need to cut the fat and I need to get to the funny quicker. That's where the mining comes in. It's usually language for me. It's like finding the funniest way to like describe the thing first, or just finding, Yeah, I mean, mining definitely comes for me after the joke is there.
Yeah.
Like once that thing is ready, I go like, right, let's make this as funny as
Yeah,
possible.
great. And you just try and punch it up as much as
Yeah,
possible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. I not the guy that does it on stage though. I'm not that guy that gets out there and go, oh, let's see how this guy. I just can't do that.
Yeah,
Like it's written.
It's funny because there's like everyone I talk to has a different version of that. You
Yeah,
know, some
absolutely.
people like,
yeah.
I think Bruno was like, I can't write. I just can't sit down.
Well, he can't read. No,
Yeah, can't read, can't write.
Love you, Bruno.
But he's like, I can't write because what comes out doesn't sound like my voice. So he's got his dot points, and then he goes on and tries to make that in his own voice.
Well, that's interesting because that's one of the one of the skills I think that comes with time as well is like learning how to do anything in your voice. Like you see some comedians and you go like, fuck, that guy is so good. Like Dan Rath is so fucking good at being him on stage.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever like watched him much. He's an Australian comic. He's
Yeah.
probably apart from Andrew Wolf, he's probably the best comic in the country.
Wow.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
But he is like, I just feel like I'm watching like no exaggerated version of him on stage, and I don't know him. I don't know I've never met him, but I feel like what I get on stage is like 100% him.
Yeah.
It's just his voice, and it's incredible, man.
So you've been doing it for 5 years. Do you feel like you had to find you struggled to find your own voice, or do you think because you had this in with TV writing, you was already there and you were old enough?
I think I'm still finding it. Like
yeah.
You know how like you look back at about a year ago and a year ago and a year ago and you go like, all right, that sucks. Like I'm glad we're not doing that now and we've kind of moved on. And hopefully, I genuinely hope that I keep doing that. Like I keep looking back and going, oh, what were you doing? Why were you doing that shit? Like this time last year, you were doing those jokes. Those are terrible.
Do you record or watch your sets?
Yeah,
you do.
Unfortunately, all the time.
I had this conversation with someone the other day. I don't. Only because one time I did like a mad cow, and I thought I bombed hard. I was like, this is so terrible, and I went to listen to it back, and there were some laughs, and I was like, I didn't do that bad, and I thought I'd much prefer to think I did worse, and then work towards like killing, like you know what I mean. And which brings me to my next question: is what do you think like separates? Like obviously you've been in the industry long enough where you see open micers come and they get through, they start opening and they start supporting and then they're headlining, and then obviously you see people fall away. What do you think sort of separates someone? Obviously as well, there's open micers that are open micers for a long time and they don't quite tip. What do you think separates someone from category A to B where they suddenly tip and they're killing it and they're headlining and they're opening for...
I really think it's just to keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any like right or wrong answer, and I don't think I'm an example of like how to do it or how not to do it.
Yeah.
I think that as long as you just keep on doing it and there's not too much fucking bitterness in your heart about doing it, because there is a lot. We're surrounded by unfortunately a fair bit of that. We're surrounded by great comics and great people, open mic and pros, semi-pros, all of that. But there are a lot of people that are very, very jaded with the fact that they don't get the gigs that they want, or they think, you know, you're getting gigs that you shouldn't get. I'm getting gigs like there's tons of that.
Yeah.
Like if you can just drown all that fucking noise out and put like 10% of the energy that some of those people put into, you know, diatribe on fucking Facebook and Instagram about how the world's unfair, take some of that fucking energy and put it into writing jokes and just focus on the thing that you want to do, and you'll be fine. I think that's all there really is to it. Like I look at the people that I really admire and respect that we're surrounded by, and I go like, oh yeah, they get up as often as possible. They try new stuff at the right time. I think there's a big thing to be said for, you know, treating stage time like you're not entitled to it.
Yeah.
Like it's not a thing that you just like, oh yeah, absolutely, you should be on stage for 5 minutes and have these people's attention. Like that's a crazy thing. Like even if it is an open mic, like treat them all the same. Treat all the gigs the same and put your best foot forward all the time. Which
I can definitely see when you do, because I've seen you at the lounge and I've seen you at Fluffy Duck or Mad Cow, and when there's like 6 people and you treat every audience the same.
I try to
respectfully. Like
I try. John Pinder, two of the best pieces of advice I've ever had. One was from John Pinder. It was my first time away from the lounge. So like I said, I opened for him at the lounge, and then about 2 weeks later, I was doing an open mic, and he just took me aside. It was like 15, 20 people in the audience. He took me aside and he went, "This isn't the lounge, but you got to pretend they are all the lounge. Because if you treat every gig like it's the lounge, eventually most of your gigs will be at the lounge." And I thought that's a great way to look at it. They all matter. All the gigs are important.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of advice came from an actor who said, because he used to do comedy, and he said that the only thing that you have any control over is how prepared you are. So if you...
That's a very actor thing to say.
Yeah. And I was like, I got goosebumps telling you now. It's a really good friend of mine, Bruce McKinnon. I love him to bits. He said that to me, and it is rattled around in my head pretty much every fucking day for years now. And I tell people this all the time. Like that he told me that, because it's the one piece of advice that I think is just, it's unshakable, because it's so true.
Yeah.
Can't control anything else, even the setup. You're not in charge of the room.
Yeah.
You don't have any control over anything, but know your stuff. Know your stuff and be excited and committed about telling your jokes on stage, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, that is such an actor thing, because like I was chatting to Felix,
He was in The Office.
He was what?
Bruce, my friend Bruce.
Oh,
he was Steve Merchant's dad or something in The Office for like one scene. He's just one scene, but it's great. Sorry. You were chatting to Felix. I had to get that in for Bruce.
No, that's great. Yeah. I'm going to put a picture up of him right here.
Yes.
Because Felix had done like a short film or a student film or something, and he had never experienced it before. And I was telling him like often, because I teach acting as well. A few days a week. I've got a class tonight. But I tell them that like often you'll find that as an actor, you feel like you're the person on set doing the least amount of work, because you got a cameraman, you got lights, sound, grip, just crew, just running around, dozens of them doing everything. And then you're often just waiting off to the side under a tent, waiting to come, like for hours, waiting to come on for an hour and then go off again. And then, so like when you're on, you make sure that that everyone's time is worth it.
Just like stand up.
Just like stand up. So you get on, you know your lines, you commit to interpreting this character that you've come up with, that you've been hired to play, and you get on and you do it as best you can. So it is similar to stand up like that.
Yeah,
do you feel like you have a stage persona?
What I try and do is, and the biggest compliment I think I've ever had was from friends that came to watch me, that said that me on stage is basically just me.
Cool. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm trying for. I'm always nervous because I'm not a natural performer. It always feels very contrived and weird for me to be up there anyway. Yeah. But like generally, I want to give as much of my, I guess, my personality or myself or whatever to the audience as I can. Yeah. And that's not to say that like, people who do characters or anything like that are doing it. They're just not doing it the way that I want to do it. Yeah. I want to do it this way. Yeah,
that's fair enough. I think I wasn't sure. I'm very new again. I'm still not sure, but what I'm leaning towards is just being myself. And then like sometimes I had one comedian, I think it was Lockie, who was like, I didn't bomb, but there was a couple jokes that just fell super flat. They were brand new jokes as well, so it's not that big of a deal. But I was like, yeah, that's weird. They just did like 50% of the time it kills at other places and kills and then dies in the ass somewhere else. And he's like, you talk too much about sex. I was like, oh, okay.
He said that to you?
Yeah, as in, I talk, but that set that I did was too much. In general, I don't. But
I love Lockie, but he's super clean.
Very, yeah.
And there's always a thing when anyone wants to tell you that you do it this way or that way or whatever. It's usually it's just the complete antithesis of what they're doing. It's like, well, you would say that because you would never say these things on stage.
Well, Gav Baskerville also the same thing, and Gav's a notoriously clean comic.
Yeah.
He's doing his cruise ships and stuff, so it's got to be spotless clean.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do want to have that in the bank. I do want to be able to have my material be for everyone when it can be, in the sense that if I can alter my material, I got a lot of stuff that I can't say. There's a couple of venues that I'm like, I've got to filter myself so much for these.
I know what you mean. I think for the most part, and we actually discovered this. I already knew this, but the other two comics discovered this when we did a show together. So me, Tabo, and Tori did a show called Desperate House Guys.
Oh, cool.
And they realized very quickly that they are filthy in comparison to me because, and like I said to them, I was like, I'm pretty clean. as soon as I take the language out, which is easy to do, I can just not say that. I have a kid. It's easy to turn it off.
Yeah, that's it.
As soon as I start, because I don't talk about taboo stuff. I don't really talk about sex or drugs or any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a bit in here because I don't want to avoid anything. I don't want to just, like, if I find it funny, I want to be able to do it. I'm not going to not talk about certain things just because I have this like in code or whatever, or I go, I want to be clean or anything like that. But for the most part, I find that I naturally gravitate towards things that aren't like taboo topics.
Like, it's weird to be in comedy and to have to continually go, this is a joke, obviously, but you can't really say that.
No, but I do think that that's the difference between when we start and we're doing sort of 5 minutes, as opposed to when we are doing our own show or we're on a split or whatever, and we have more time to establish ourselves. And I think people have a bit more trust in us because initially, when you do 5 minutes open mic, whatever, your goal is to make people laugh as quickly as possible so that they start trusting you. Go, all right, he's funny. But I think it's almost as important to have them thinking like, and he's not a piece of shit, because you get people. There's a guy right now, I like him very much. He does some stuff that's like, I think people watch it and go, does he really think that? Because it's really like, it's edgy shit, and he doesn't get enough time to establish himself first.
Yeah, and that brings me to like another question I had, which was, if you are going to create a stage persona, right, and obviously the intent is to build an audience, your audience that comes to see you, they know what they're getting. Yeah. So how important do you think it is when you're starting out to go, I'm going to be this, and that's it? You know what I mean? And I'm not, or do you think you have to toe the line a little bit and give the audience what they want until people know you, and then start giving them the real you? Because you look at like Louis C.K. will like say the N-word, you know what I mean? Like, but apparently did that when he began. He was the same consistent comic when he started that he is now. The same sort of material. He just decided, this is who I am. Like. Do you think it's harder to make it in that respect then, or harder to sort of get to the next level?
I think the landscape is very, very different, and it's changed over the years. And now we have people that look at comics like sort of Sam Morrell, Dan Soder, Mark Norman, these guys who are like prolific. They gig constantly, and on podcasts they'll be like, you know, even Mark Norman right now will be like, I ate shit the other night. And then people are like, it's okay for me to get up and just fucking eat shit and eat shit and eat shit. And while it is okay for you to get up and eat shit, the little comedy economy that we're in right now, like, you have to be a little bit more calculated than that, because the gigs will dry up pretty quickly because you're not Mark Norman. Yeah. People watch Mark Norman and he's bombing, but they're like, it's still Mark Norman. You know, he still has this unshakable, like, he's gonna get booked again. It's fine.
He had his gig the other night.
I went to Riverside. Yeah, it was really good.
I was front row, and his opener called me out. I was the Sri Lankan musician that he made fun of.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So my wife got me tickets, and I'm not normally like a front row meet and greet guy, but my wife got me tickets because like when I started looking into comedy, Mark Norman was the guy that I was watching consistently. Yeah, because he does so many podcasts where he does like writing sessions with people.
He's a workhorse, that guy.
He's great. Like, I
gigged with him when he was here the first time. Yeah,
awesome.
Xavier had him on at
right.
Leaderville.
Yeah,
so I got to do a spot with him. That was
I heard a couple
unreal.
of people. Like Sardi said that he did a spot just before him, and he gave him good feedback. And I was like,
he was lovely. Yeah, he was really nice.
But you can see the way his brain works in podcasts. Not just in podcasts, but it's the only sort of way we can sort of view him.
Yeah, you get more of an insight.
Yeah, you can see his brain working
constantly on.
And even his mates like Shane Gillis would talk about how like he's awkward as hell. Like, they go out to dinner and the waitress reached across his
the reach around.
And he said something like, Jack Reacher. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And
he's like, you don't have to say anything. He's like, no, I do though. I have to get it out. You know?
But like, imagine being that in tune comedically, where like your brain is constantly making comparisons. Yeah. And like, I feel like it's just his default. And that was when I started looking at getting into comedy. He was the guy I was watching, because when you look at like YouTube, like the writing, comedy writing tips or whatever, tutorials, whatever, his stuff starts popping up, which I told him when I met him, and he was like, he gave me his Mark Normand. He's got his list of like responses. I think he's like, if I was gay, I'd blow you, that kind of thing. But I told him I just want to thank you because I started doing well when I started getting into it, probably because I spent 2.5 years watching podcasts and reading books. So I think 4 months in, the Comedy Lounge were gracious enough to give me my first paid spot, which I don't know if it was the right decision or not to take it or not, because I feel like I was too new to do.
Yeah, look, I definitely was not. I mean, like I said, my first ones were there and they shouldn't have been.
Right.
I think it was a bad way for me to start. I also had a real full start because it was my birthday and they were just a super nice, kind audience. Nice. It was my first. It was my first time, so I did really, really well, but I didn't do that well. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't that good. I just got a great response from them, and I was like, oh, that was great. Yeah. It was a good start, but it was a false one because then I would go away and do other rooms and stuff, and I was like, all right, this is actually quite difficult. I'm gonna have to really, really work at this.
Yeah. Let's say someone wants to get into stand-up comedy, specifically, actually. Let's say someone wants to get into comedy writing, TV. What would be the first steps that you would encourage them to do? Especially if there's do they need to be trained? Do they need to show?
I wasn't.
No.
I remember one of the things that I did once I started, because as you know, like one TV job doesn't mean you just get a career.
Yeah.
So I was like, what else can I do here? So I would basically find every company on the internet, especially like within social media, and see what they were doing and how I could add to what they're doing. Yeah. And then I would just approach them. So like I ended up getting contracts with, Match.com just to write dating jokes for them. I did that for I think I was with them for about a year. Then I did one of their little sister companies. They had another app called Stir. So I did jokes for them for a while. And these, you can negotiate really good contracts with these types of companies. Not that it's all about money, obviously, but you want to transition to being a writer or full-time or whatever. So I just found the different areas that I thought that I could write extensively about, but add humor to. Yeah. So let's say, for example, with music, you want to, maybe you want to write, but music's one of your big passions. What? Give me 2 other things that you're super into.
TV, comedy writing, and acting.
All right. So comedy, I would go and find, say for example, there's a guitar company sells different types of guitars. You're probably quite knowledgeable on those. Yeah. I would go to these Instagram pages or Twitter pages or whatever, and then just be like, hey, let me write 5 ads for you. Yeah. Or however many ads or whatever. Be willing to do it completely for free, because you're just building your CV at that point. But then it does get to a point where you're like, hey, by the way, I've written for Yamaha. I don't know any. You know what I mean? I've written for these 3, 4, 5 companies. The bikes. I've written for these companies. They don't know if you've done it for free or not. They don't care either. They don't give a shit. But the fact is that that's on your CV, and you've done these ads for these people. So now you have leverage for the next one.
So when you say writing for those people, are you just putting together a script for them?
No, I put together I mean, you're in TV, so you know what a treatment is, right? Yeah, I basically do a treatment for these people. So I would give them 3 tiers, which this tier system actually came from another guy called Sev, big on TikTok. We used to work together.
I think I've met him once or twice.
Fucking lovely dude. Yeah. He showed me that if you present, if you go and pitch something to someone, so he and I did Red Rooster together. Yeah. So we went to Red Rooster with tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1 is the most amount of work we're willing to do for the least amount of money. And then tier 3 is a silly amount of work, but the money is insane. So, if they go for it, then that's you sorted for a while. And so I would just make it so that tier 1 was all right. Tier 2 is quite appealing, but tier 3, they're like, if we're going to go tier 2, we might as well go
That's great.
tier 3
sales tactic.
Exactly. And so he is a absolute gun with this stuff. He didn't even teach it to me. I just saw it and I was like, oh. And then I found myself doing it, and I remembered saying to him a few years ago, I was like, that tier shit that you do, I do that with all my clients. It's amazing. And he was like, well, I'm glad.
Well, I used to sell computers at JB Hi-Fi the same way.
There you go.
Like I've got a budget of about $500-600. I'm like, well, that you can get this easily.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna go that, like
either
of these two
stretch it.
has got, for an extra $100, you get the i7 processor and like all this stuff.
Real
like, done.
sales
I'll
tactics.
take 2 of them. Not
What happened to your budget? So I would do that when I would go to these companies, and more often than not, you'd get at least a tier 2 or a tier 3.
Yeah, cool.
And as I said, like that, previously building off just doing shit for free, which I know is frustrating, but it's like,
you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so do they take the treatment and then make an ad themselves? They just take...
No, I usually will just, for the last however many years now, I've just been like, I want 100% control until deliverables, and then you can edit the deliverables however you want. And then this is usually part of tier 3, give them back to me for revisions and notes. And that's usually where people go like, we'll go with tier 3 actually, because I don't want to have to... They want to be able to say, you don't do this, this, and this. But they don't want to go, okay, we can't have this, this, and this. What, we have to change it? So
they want like something polished right at the end of it, just so they can see tier 3.
But they want it polished. They want me to give them polished, and then they want to be able to go, hey, we really like this. But we can't say this, we can't compare this to this, and we can't have these things or these keywords mentioned or whatever. So I'll take those out.
And then so when you're writing for these ones, for these companies, is there a instinct to make them funny as possible?
That's the thing that I offer, especially now, because it's the thing that like ChatGPT just can't fucking get right. So anytime these companies want like a slightly funny copy or ad read or whatever, and they're getting ChatGPT to do it, it doesn't work. It doesn't. It's just not there yet. ChatGPT
is useless for actually writing. I think more as an assistant for like, I'll use it for like, give me a list of things to do with guitars. And a list of things to do with computers, and I want to find similarities between them. You know what I mean?
I was using it extensively last year. I was writing on a video game, and it was an already existing video game, so I didn't know any of the background because it was huge. So I basically just put all of their game bibles into ChatGPT, and then would get them to do like a structure. And then I would put the human spin on it, and I felt fine with that. But there's something really feels dirty about using it for comedy.
Well, it does, and I don't. But and then for these interviews, I've used it for like, search the internet and tell me all about like Sean Conway, and it does brings up a photo of and everything. And then I did it for you, but I ended up going on to...
You were like, not that David Hughes, by the way.
That's right. Well, I actually, the prompt was like, not to be confused with David Hughes. I want the good David Hughes.
He's a gun, that guy.
Yeah, he's great.
He's an absolute weapon. Lovely dude. I was in Melbourne recently, and I got a DM from an Airbnb, like this really nice Airbnb going, Hughesy, come by any time. And I was like... That's not for me. But I happened to be in Melbourne at that time. So I was like, this is a bit of a coincidence though. But I screenshotted it and I sent it to him, and he goes, mate, I'm in London. Just go for it. He goes, go for it. That's their fault.
You're like, also, I've made a couple of restaurant reservations under your name.
The bill's yours.
That's great. No, I think we'll wrap it there. But I appreciate that, man, because I would love to get into writing as a career. I've always wanted to get into like comedy writing.
It's way easier than people will make it out to be, and I'm living proof because I'm fucking stupid.
Me too. Yeah, but thank you very much. Anywhere, like again, this won't come out for some weeks, but where can people see you mostly? Comedy Lounge.
I'm at the Comedy Lounge this weekend. But they won't be out this week. Just the usual spots. I'm everywhere, as you know. I'm everywhere. I'll be back over East soon as well.
I'll put a link up. What's that, sorry?
I'll be back over East
cool.
soon as well.
Well, I'll put a link up to your social media right here. I'll put it on the screen. So people can will know where to follow you. It's David 8
David 8
Hughes. On all platforms?
On everything.
On everything. Cool. David 8 Hughes right there. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And awesome job with this. This is really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. And we'll see you next time. See you next week. Thank you.
I don't know which camera to look at, so I'm just going to do both. All of them.
No, it's great, man. Thank you. That was a great one.
Does This Work, a comedy podcast this Friday. So watch, listen, subscribe, like, all of that fucking jazz. Should we do it again?
No, that's perfect. Oh, you can do one more.
Yeah, let's do it again.
I just panned up because I wanted to get the Does This Work in the background.
Yeah, no. I was just like, I probably shouldn't swear.
That's all. Yeah, one more time.
Hi, I'm David Hughes, and this Friday I am on Does This Work, a comedy podcast. So come watch, listen, all that jazz. See you there.